Hello and welcome to Blytheway Business News. I am Bonnie Hughes. Our guest today is Walkabout Resources. They are fast-tracking to production their graphite project in Tanzania. Their share price has tripled since the beginning of the year due to all of the accomplishments they have made so far this year. And here to tell us all about the company is Trevor Benson, Chief Executive Officer. Hello, Trevor.
Hi, Bonnie. Good morning.
Very nice to see you again under such favorable circumstances.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes, things are progressing very well. I understand that you are in the process of a $3.1 million raise in order to get things rolling on moving the project forward.
Well, we raised, that was a small placement that we did about a month ago. So that's completed, and now we are raising the development capital to put the plant into production.
And is that being done through debt?
We're looking to raise mainly debt to finance the project. It's only 28 million US to build a 40,000 tonne per annum plant, and that size is because we're only putting through 240,000 tonnes of ore through the mill per annum. So it's relatively a small operation.
But it's still a very low capex, which is that part of the reason why you've chosen to do the operation of this size?
Yes, it is. We want to be in production and be able to sell our product, so we're keeping it small. To begin with, we've got expansion capabilities, but that's down the track.
And you've got two offtake agreements already in place for 75% of the production. How did you progress that?
Yeah, well, we've actually moved on from there. We've moved to 3 binding offtake agreements, which cover at least 100% of our production of 40,000 tonnes.
That's amazing. And so what is some of your strategy for getting it fast-tracked into production?
Yeah, so we've been working on that for all this year. We started out with our upgrade to our resource reserve. We've now got the highest reserve grade, life of mine reserve grade in Africa, just under 18% TGC. We updated our DFS, which are very robust, favourable numbers. Then we signed those 3 binding offtake agreements, and now we're looking for the development finance. So that's our focus right now.
And I understand that you are in the process of doing procurement as well ahead of schedule.
We've signed a fast track early start program where we've paid initially our engineering partner some funding to start the early procurement and manufacture of equipment. We've also started on-site work. We've implemented the relocation assistance program. We've moved the people. We're in the process of paying the people. We've started earth moving on site. So early start, we're moving forward.
That's excellent news. And with regard to the DFS, what is some of the highlights of the DFS since it's been upgraded?
The highlights are that we have still got a very low capex of just under 28 million US. We have a life of mine of 24 years. We have a payback of under 2 years. We have IRR of about 120%. We have NPV of just under 200 million US. So very favourable. EBITDA cash flow is based on a basket price of $1,500 a tonne, because most of our product is above 180 micron, so it's a large flake product. 25% of our product is below 180 micron, which goes into the anode, into the battery market. So we do achieve a better basket price for our product.
And you just finalized a resettlement agreement, because obviously there's people that are living on the project, and that's very good that you accomplished that. How did that progress?
Well, we have very favourable and good relationships with the Tanzanian government and with the local community. It was a major program, so we had to relocate around about 730 people from the site. So they have all been audited and they will be paid progressively. And that enables us to be able to get onto the site and start work.
And you're advanced in your discussions with regard to the funding of the debt?
We are right now in the process of raising that 28 million US. So we're in discussions with a number of parties to progress the raise, predominantly debt. We have $6.5 million Australian in the bank at the moment, so we're well funded. Obviously, we're listed on the ASX, and we've got a capitalisation just over 90 million Australian. So in relative terms, it's not a big task, or shouldn't be a big task to raise the development capital.
Oh, especially since you are going to be in production hopefully by the second half of 2020.
That's right. It'll take us, with the development capital, we can start work and we can be producing within 1 year.
And with regard to the offtake agreements, is that mainly with the Chinese?
It is it's with a global trader who's assisting us in terms of marketing and selling, and it's with 2 Chinese offtake partners. There are binding agreements. We obviously signed non-binding agreements about 18 months ago. We'll look at those again when we're closer to production. But for now, we're concentrating on China.
Well, you've worked very hard to get the company to this level, because basically when you were here a year ago, it was quite a struggle, as it's been for most mining companies. So very good for you, to achieve such an accomplishment. And how were you able to put that in progress?
Well, I think we've had very good support. Obviously, from our shareholders, have been very supportive, and we've also had some support from Europe. And the market seems to have received our story well, albeit it has been, as you say, challenging. But yeah, we've had some response, and we've been marked up in relative terms.
That is excellent. And do you have some large institutional shareholders at the moment?
We have our largest shareholder is our engineering partner with just under 10%. We have high net worths in Australia. We have a nominee account with Europeans and with European investors, and then we have a total of 2,500 shareholders, and mainly in Australia.
That would make sense considering you're Australian listed. And would you, I guess at this point, you wouldn't need to consider a listing on another exchange?
We would, if it continues to make sense, and we think that we can achieve our goals of getting into deeper markets for deeper capital, then we certainly look at it.
And the life of mine is about 20 years, and I understand that you're looking at more of the higher grade as you go deeper, as the years progress?
Yeah, our DFS shows a life of mine of 24 years. And it's a very simple operation. We're mining very high grade. So as I said, our life of mine grade is just under 18%. But for the early years, we will be producing, digging out high grade plus 20% from surface. It'll only go down to about 60, 70 metres in terms of the pit. But we have extensions to the north and south. So we should be producing or mining high grade ore for many years. But for now, we have a life of mine grade based on the 40,000 tonnes per annum of 24 years.
And I guess since you're going to start construction and production, your permitting is all final?
We have all the permits. We're shovel ready. We've got all the permits in place. We've got a mining licence, and we have environmental approval, and we have the relocation assistance program audited and finalised. So we have got on site, and we've started earth moving already.
That is amazing. And I guess the future sort of news flow for shareholders, you're not doing any more exploration, so it'll be with regard to the progression of the debt funding?
We are solely focused on our funding and getting the Lindy Jumbo graphite project into production. We have got some exploration on other projects, but it's very low key.
Excellent. And then I guess so you'll have some consistent news flow with regard to how the construction is progressing.
Yes, I think we'll have news flow on the project and as we develop the project and obviously the early start. So we're getting the early start is in place. So there's earth moving, there's civils being done. We're putting down pads. So work is certainly progressing, and so there will be some good news flow.
Well, this is great to hear, and it's wonderful to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing about your production.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you for joining us on Blytheway Business News.